Welcome to Lane Productions, legendary and mysterious explorations. Whether it's real life or the unknown, this channel is dedicated to helping you discover that reality is often scarier than fiction. What I'm about to talk about in this video is scarier than any horror movie I have ever seen. I want to be very clear, this is not a conspiracy theory video. This video is grounded in information that anyone can obtain if you were to simply look. My goal behind this video is to scare you. Yes, scare you with the truth. And hopefully, if we work together, we can change the predicted outcome. The year was 2016, and the world was about to be introduced to the most realistic, real-world pandemic scenario of what would happen to the United States if an infectious disease or virus was introduced to the population at large. The results would be catastrophic.
In 2001, a real-world exercise tested the emergency response to a bioterror attack on the continental United States. The operation was called Dark Winter. Within just a few days, the simulation spiraled out of control. The operation predicted a rapid breakdown in essential institutions, civil disorder, and massive civilian casualties. Dark Winter has revealed how vulnerable we've become. Our lifestyle, our security, our safety, depends on a delicate and unstable economy. We've created a system so complicated that we no longer understand how to control it. Oil, power, shipping, transport. We live in a complex world. And the more complex it gets, the more fragile it becomes. The system is built on a global supply chain that gets things where they're needed, just in time. We've created a house of cards. Remove just one, and everything falls apart. And what's fueling this system?
Money. Americans can spend $90 billion in a single day of shopping. Last year, 200 million people swarmed their local stores on November 23rd. We call that day Black Friday. Did you know that a flu virus can survive on the surface of a banknote for up to 17 days? One day there will be a pandemic. It could begin during the crush of Black Friday sales. A pathogen will jump from tainted banknotes to human skin, onto food, toys, children, and loved ones. By the time patient zero feels the first sore throat, millions of people will already be infected. From this point, the breakdown will happen fast.
Day 1, hospitals will reach capacity. Panic will strike. Day 2, quarantine zones will be established. Resources will be rationed. Transport will go into lockdown. Day 3, international trade will stop. The oil will dry up. The stock market will collapse. Day 4, the power will fail. The shelves will be empty. The taps will run dry. And once hunger and despair take hold, people will do anything for survival. By day 5, everyone will be a potential threat.
In 2007, a new presidential directive was signed quietly into law. This maps out the government's response to a crisis, a plan to cope with a real dark winter. It is known as Directive 51. There are rumors of shadow agencies, sleeper cells, covert agents, but nothing can be confirmed.
Our complex world is primed for breakdown.
And once the chaos strikes,
there won't be resources to save us all.
The only question left is, what will it take to save what remains?
First, let's talk about Dark Winter and compare the findings to what we all just went through in 2020 and probably will continue to deal with for the foreseeable future. But I think that depends on us as Americans. Everything I'm about to discuss with you is public information. I'll place links down in the description, and I would highly encourage you to go beyond just watching this video. Don't just take my word for it. Formulate your own opinions and decide what you need to do next. This is an article from Johns Hopkins about the Dark Winter exercise. This exercise took place on June 22nd to the 23rd of 2001. It involved the Center for Strategic and International Studies, the Johns Hopkins Center for Civilian Biodefense Studies, the Answer Institute for Homeland Security, and the Oklahoma City National Memorial Institute for the Prevention of Terrorism. This was a senior-level wargaming exercise to determine the national security, intergovernmental, and informational challenges of a biological attack on the American homeland. Dark Winter used the smallpox virus to wargame what would happen. Smallpox would be the worst-case scenario with a case fatality rate of around 30%. Even though the World Health Assembly declared the smallpox virus eradicated in 1980, there has always been a lingering fear that it could resurface in a biological attack. It is still believed to be the least accessible because the only known stockpiles, and I really want to emphasize known, exist in the United States and Russia. However, many experts believe that this virus is not limited to these two locations, as there are many subnational groups pursuing active biological weapons programs. Now, armed with that information, you might be asking, what would be the point? The United States has long been viewed as the world's superpower. The US dollar drives the entire world economy. The United States itself is viewed as impenetrable, in large part due to our military. But what other countries really fear is you, the American citizen. Why? Have you ever wondered why Japan didn't invade the United States after wiping out Pearl Harbor? Especially since our government believed that if they had attacked, landing in California, they might have reached as far as the Mississippi before they were stopped. After the surrender of Japan, their remaining admirals and generals were asked that question. Their response should make you proud to belong to the greatest country in the world. Admiral Yamamoto, the commander of the Japanese fleet, had visited and studied in America, so he was well aware that because of the Second Amendment in our Constitution and the skill of the average American citizen to use their firearms, it would be nearly impossible to invade and occupy the United States. It has been estimated that there are 2.3 million hunters in Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Michigan, and Idaho alone. Those 5 states by themselves represent the largest standing military in the world. Remember, there are 45 other states. So how do you bring the most powerful country in the world to its knees?
Destabilize the country with a virus, then convince the American citizens to turn on each other, divide and conquer, then infiltrate the highest levels of government, develop policies that will cripple the country forever. If that doesn't scare you, then I don't know what will. Wake up. This is not a dream. This is really happening.
Okay, so back to the Dark Winter exercise. Remember, this was based on the smallpox virus. This was their findings. Number 1, our national security would be at risk. Number 2, massive civilian casualties. Number 3, breakdown in essential institutions. Number 4, there would be violations to our democratic process. Number 5, civil disorder. Number 6, finally, there would be a loss of confidence in the United States government. Sound familiar? That's not what this video is for, but I will say that I don't believe them. The analysis, I would say yes, there have been massive civilian casualties.